Obviously, I'm a little rusty. Been out for a month now, but I'm glad to be back up there.
Did you have any limitations? Were you full go? Kind of what was it like for you out there?
They're taking it slow. Was a little limited today, but every day I'm sure they'll pick it up a little bit.
What do you kind of feel like you need to see from yourself to be able to get back out there in the game?
Honestly, I just need to run full speed, make sure my endurance is right, and make sure my mind is right as well. Make sure I know my assignment. Make sure I can do it at the best level possible, and I'll be ready.
How hard was it not to be able to play with your team kind of during this stretch?
It was rough, especially when I was watching at home some away games. You know, you want to be out there helping your team, but hey, it's part of the process, and I'm just glad to be back.
When you are back 100%, what do you feel like you can help this team do?
I don't know. I just think I bring some speed to the table, some power. Another mind out there. I don't like the phrase that I'm a coach on the field because, you know, coaches do a lot more than I do, but I can definitely help out there.
You're still a quarterback of the defense, though, and you have to wear a lot of different hats. How much do you welcome that position, especially here on this defense?
Oh, I love it. I feel like if somebody asks me a question, I'm grateful to answer. I feel like if we're all on the same page, all 11 will be a great defense.
How much do you feel like your position has evolved through your time in the NFL?
So much.
Yeah.
Lack of better terms, I don't want to say I used to suck, but I pretty much suck. I've come a long way, still got a long way to go, and hopefully I can just keep improving.
How much do you feel that improvement here in Atlanta?
I feel a lot more in Atlanta. I'm also having a lot more fun here in Atlanta. I don't know, it's just something about it. I bring them all every day, and it pays off on the field.
It is interesting because this is a 3-7 football team, yet you guys seem like you're still having fun and that it is still a brotherhood in that locker room. Why is that?
I feel like at the end of the day, football is a kid's game. You got to have fun with it because if not, it's going to be hard to go out there on Sundays and play at your best. To give it 100% because, you know, knocking heads every play, that's not an easy thing to do. So I think that's a big reason.
You mentioned sitting on the couch and watching those away games. I know that was hard for you, but what are you noticing from this defense, especially at this point in the year?
They're definitely picking some things up. We definitely got to clean a lot of things up, but I like where it's headed still.
Have you seen there was like a clip, I think it was like Baldy's breakdown when they were breaking down the defense and things like that. Did you see that and kind of what was your reaction to some of those soft coverages he was talking about?
Baldy's clip?
Yeah.
I actually didn't see
No, you
that.
haven't seen it?
Unfortunately,
Okay.
no.
So there were some instances where the Panthers went down the field, there were some soft coverages.
Oh, soft coverages?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I
what
see what you mean. I see what you mean. Just good play calls on the Panthers' part. They seen what we were in. They kind of dotted up. Also, missed assignments by us. We got to clean those up, and we'll be fine.
We just talked about staying positive. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to do when you've only won 3 football games.
Yeah.
How do you guys do that?
By staying together, you know, always just making sure that we're all good, checking in on each other. And because, I mean, if we start veering away from each other, I feel like it's just that much harder. And even just coming in the building, like you want to have a positive mindset, the best that you can, because I mean, you know, my faith is high, so I feel like the dam will break at some point. So we got to be as close as together as we can. So when it does, like, we knew what it felt like, and then as we continue to do one game at a time and take it one day at a time, like, and start rolling, hopefully, we just know how it feels.
What's your reaction when you hear Mike is done for the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. Like, I hate when my teammates get hurt. Like, he's a brother of mine, so. And especially, like, just all that he's been through, for him to be injured like that again is I just hate it. I hate it for him. I hate it for this team. I hate it for his family, like, because he's just such a competitor. He's such a great guy, like, great dude. So I just told him, I was like, you know, bro, God has a plan for you. Like, he didn't do this for no reason. He did it for a reason. So you gotta know that. And we're all going to be backing you this whole time, supporting you. And, you know, I know that he's taking it hard right now, and we are too, but I mean, we just got to push for him and, you know, go out there and play as hard as we can for him as well.
Now that Kirk Cousins comes in, obviously familiarity with having an entire year almost with him last year. How much does that help moving forward?
I mean, it helps a lot. Like, Kirk knows the whole offense. He knows what we have to do to win games. We had him for a lot of the season last year. So, I mean, I think with him is now it's just getting back to that rhythm, getting back to that momentum for himself, because, you know, sometimes it takes time, but now he has a full week knowing that he'll be the guy, so it instills a lot of confidence in him. So I think he's ready to go. practice today went very well. Just execution and operation was went very well. So I think he's ready to go, and we're all ready to go around him as well.
What was his message to you guys after it was kind of, known about what happened to Mike, that Kirk was going to be taking over?
Yeah, I mean, we was all ready for it. Like, we was all we knew that Mike was injured, so we know Kirk stepped up immediately, especially in the meeting. So for us, like, it was a good moment for us to come together and to know, to rally around, and just to focus on this game right here, the best that we can. And we get it, but it's next man up, and we have to play like that as well.
Who do you feel like you've seen out in the locker room that's really stood up as a leader during this time?
I would say Caden Ellis. Like he's a leader, obviously, but I think that just his momentum of trying to get everybody on the same page and stay positive, stay just prayed up. Like, he's that guy, and I listen to him a lot. Obviously, he's my locker mate, so we talk a lot, but just seeing his actions and what he does is pretty inspiring.
How do you balance staying positive while also sending the message of this is not the standard and the expectation for what you guys want?
Yeah, I mean, we realize it. Like, this is we hate losing games. We work so hard so we don't lose them. So, for us, like, it's just continue to be, as close to perfect as we can in practice. Like, we're not going to be perfect, but, continue to, make the execution and the number one priority, because when we execute, obviously we're a very, good team, but, we haven't been at the level that we want to these past 5 weeks or so. So for us, like, we have to really take control. We have to hold people accountable. Like, I think that's a big thing. Continue to hold the players accountable, continue to hold each other accountable, because when we do that, like, then we're headed in the right direction. Like, we can't, all these little things that, if we see something, like, we got to call it out. If we make a mistake, we gotta fix it right then and there. So it's just those things like that, so we can be at our best when the game comes.
What's your confidence level in Raheem Morris as a head coach?
I'm very confident. That's my dude, man. Like, he's such a great coach, and we just want to play for him, and we just want to win for him, because he gives us an opportunity to play for each other. Nobody's like stickler in this building, so that's my dude, man. Like, Coach Morris, like, he's such a great coach to me, to the guys, and sometimes, like I told him, like, man, adversity hits. And adversity sucks, but it's sometimes it's thrown our way for a learning lesson. It's thrown our way so we can, bounce the way we want it to go, and at the end, and when it all opens up, like, we've lived through that for a reason. So, I'm very confident in him. That's what I'll say about that one.
Bijan, you've lined up in some kind of unique spots this year in the backfield in particular, kind of like out wide, that little, like, 5-yard, or like behind,
Yeah.
So Zac Robinson was saying, obviously the offense doesn't go out the window, but there's going to be some tweaks with the quarterback change. Do you still expect kind of that variety of formation and like unique looks?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we do, man. Like, we do a lot of different things to make the defense confused, like, where kind of like Where's Waldo type stuff like that for all of us. So that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it fun. And I know that we have a couple injuries, but we just adapt and adjust. And we have I think he's made a great plan for this game. Like, and I'm just ready to go out there and execute it.
And I want to say, like, you and Tyler have some of the highest usage on outside runs this season. Is that more your comfort level? Is that how the offense is designed? Is that the offensive line and their comfort? Like, why do you think that is?
I think it's just how it's designed, how the offense is designed. Tyler and I, we're comfortable with any run scheme that they put out in front of us. Like, I love them all. I love all the run schemes, no matter wide, zone, it doesn't matter. And he's the same way. So, but yeah, like, that's, obviously we're more wide zone of an offense, but just having those varieties is always great for opening up everything else too.
And kind of like little nuances of getting in and out of the huddle, the cadence of the line of scrimmage, the kind of like command and the voice. How does that change between Mike and Kirk, or is it very similar?
Yeah, man. I mean, Kirk, he's super sharp in his technique when it comes to cadence and everything like that. So, and Mike is too. But it's just, Kirk goes out there. And we all know his voice because we had it last year for a whole year already. So we're all used to both of them, and they both do a very good job. So we're ready to go.
Cool. I got just two more. I walked up late, so just your thoughts on Mike and kind of him going down.
Yeah. Like I said, man, like it was, we're all sad for him. But I just told him, we're here to encourage you, and we're always gonna have your back. And like I said, God does everything for a reason. So you'll be, okay because of that reason alone. So we're all standing with him, and we're all sad, but we gotta go out there and play hard for him, so he knows that we have his back.
And on the other sideline, Alvin Kamara, right? I know that Christian McCaffrey is somebody that you watch a lot of, but I remember when they were both in the NFC South at the same time.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Alvin Kamara, just kind of growing up and watching him?
I mean, he was a role model for me. Like I said, all the time, every year when we play against him, like that's one of my guys, man. And it's really cool getting to play him again and to see his longevity. Like it's pretty awesome. So I'm excited to get to go up against him for another time, for another year, and it's gonna be a fun matchup, man.
I mean, I feel good. Obviously, we're taking the week to ramp up to see where I'm at towards the end of the week. But as far as the rehab process, I mean, it's been good. Made a lot of improvements. Big shout out to everybody in the training room trying to get me right, trying to have a quick turnaround so I could get back to play and get back with the guys as soon as possible and trying to turn the season around.
Yeah, you've had a chance now, last couple of weeks, to kind of, I guess, be an observer of this offensive line and this unit. What have you seen from them just as they've continued to progress?
I mean, they've improved a lot. We're getting some games, and they shut those down. They improved on the games, on third down and stuff. We've been in a lot of passing situation. They did a good job, and running the football has improved a lot. And obviously. It was tough watching it from a distance because obviously you want to be in it, but they did a great job, and I think they did everything they could to get to overtime and get a win. But sometimes things don't happen the way you want them to, but they did an incredible job. And
how difficult is it to get continuity offensively with so many moving parts personnel-wise? You've been out 2 games.
Yeah.
You've got a new quarterback now.
Right,
It just
right.
always seems to be something.
I mean, it's tough, the comms up front, obviously you got to be able to communicate and stuff like that. And when you don't have the same cast of characters, it's tough. But at the end of the day, it's football. It's part of the game, and you have to be able to assess and adjust, and it's part of the game. And, hopefully we'll get it right on Sunday. Kirk has played a lot of football with us, so he's been here all training camp and stuff like that. So we still have that relationship, and we have to turn it around as fast as possible so we can hopefully get a win on Sunday.
Do you sense any desperation in the locker room?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think we're at a point of the season where your back is against the wall. We need a win. As a program, as a team, just for the vibes in general in the locker room. You need a win, and I think you have to have that mindset that we're desperate. We need a win. We need to try and do our best to turn everything around. And obviously, Saints is a great football team. They beat the team that we lost to a couple of days ago. So it's going to be a heavyweight matchup. They're pretty physical up front. They got a good defense. So we got to go out there and earn it. It's not going to be easy, but we have to be in our mindset that we're desperate.
How upsetting is it, or frustrating is it that you've dealt with so many, not you personally, but then everybody else in this team, that it's just injuries have been everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, obviously we work hard during camp, and just seeing season cut short, I'm just thinking about Mike. We worked so hard, OTA's camp, and just seeing his season cut short, it's hard to see, what I'm saying? Just a guy like Mike who works super hard and just is dedicated to the game, but then it's part of football, and, injuries happen, and you have to be able to respond and, get better.
Matthew, it feels like a lot of wide outside zone runs. I think Bijan leads the league in those. Over the course of the season, when you have that kind of tendency, does it become harder to make those blocks when it is consistently, or is it just kind of line up and go? I
mean, ever since I've been here, outside zone has been the bread and butter of this team. So obviously, that's what we're good at up front, and I think we're going to continue that trend, and that's been our identity, is just outside zone, and obviously you got to find ways to switch it up. But ever since first thing I did when I first got drafted is a man reach. So it's important, and we just got to keep getting better at it. Obviously, because teams are expecting it now, so you have to be better at it, and obviously the expectations towards the end of the season, the standards are higher, because obviously, we're trying to get wins, and you're trying to make a late push. But,
and with a running back like Bijan, I'd imagine with a scrambling quarterback, Michael Vick back in the day, you heard offensive linemen are I don't know necessarily where he's going to be to set up my blocks. Bijan's obviously reading off of you guys, but knowing how quickly he can bounce things and,
Right.
and move lanes.
Yeah.
Does that make it any harder on you guys? Or
No, then we have to execute our blocks, and Bijan's gonna make the read. I never played running back. I don't know what it's like to be out there, and make those reads. But then we have to, do our assignments, and Bijan is gonna make us right. And even when we don't do our assignments, Bijan is talented enough, and he's just great of a running back that he's gonna make us right even when we mess up. So we just gotta keep building and just keep stacking games, and hopefully the run game can help the team win games in the future.
Do you think you're going to play Sunday?
I'm hoping to. Then it's a ramp up, so I got to go through a lot of different phases and stuff like that. But I'm hoping. But you never know, especially with an injury like that. Sometimes they can linger. So we're just trying to take it a step at a time, and we'll see where we're going to be at towards the end of the week.
You're dealing with the news of Michael's injury and that he'll be, out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we're obviously sick about it. Mike's our guy. He's he's handled adversity before, and he'll handle it as well as he can. He's got a great support staff. Mike comes from a great family. He's got a great fiance. Got great teammates, coaches. We're all rallying around him, but obviously we just feel sick about it. But know that he'll bounce back stronger than ever. He's handled this stuff before, and he's just a mentally tough guy, and he's been through these things in the past, and obviously we're praying for him and the procedure and everything to go well, and know that the recovery, he's going to attack it the right way and be ready to roll. But obviously we're all sick about it. We love Mike. Love what he was doing throughout the season, and especially in that game. He was playing at such a high level, and for that to happen was unfortunate. But we're thinking about him. We're all wrapping our arms around him. Like I said, he's got a great support staff with his family and his fiance, and players and coaches. We're all wrapping our arms around him.
Did you talk to him? You have a word to share with them?
Yeah, we talk. Keep that kind of between us, but a similar sentiment. Just. He was in, as good a spirits as you can be for getting the news, but, he lives in the neighborhood. We'll stop by and kind of check on him, here time and time again. But yeah, we'll keep the kind of conversation private, but he was in as good a spirits as he could be.
And Coach said, hey, we're going to tailor this thing for Kirk the rest of the way. What's that process like? He said doing what he, old stuff and stuff that you
Sure.
can hear. And
yeah, it'd be kind of a blend. We've obviously built the offense around Mike and the things that he does well, and as well with our run game, and so we'll go back to some things that we've done last year, Kirk's done in the past, and get ultimately acclimated to Kirk and what he does well. We're always adapting to our guys, so we'll probably look a little bit different, but we'll also keep our same bread and butter stuff rolling, and know that Kirk's going to prepare the right way. Expect him to play really well. We're excited to get Kirk out there.
Could him come into the lineup maybe unlock Mooney when you really need it with Drake being out? Sure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we've said the last couple of weeks it feels like Mooney's close. Made big time third down catch in that game. He's had opportunities where maybe the ball didn't go his way because the read was on the front side, but he's continuing to work, knowing that those opportunities are going to come at some point. And so, no, those guys had a great rapport last year. Mooney had such a big season for us last year, but like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, anticipating Mooney, at some point here he'll get a high volume of targets, and anticipate him taking off.
You mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you had a 30-minute conversation with Ledford. What have you seen from that offensive line in hindsight?
Yeah, I think the just overall communication, and especially in the run game, has been pretty clean. The last handful of weeks, we've run it pretty well. Especially the last two, and so that's been, you knew those guys were going to respond the right way after a couple tough weeks with San Fran and the Dolphins, where we were just a little bit loose with our communication. We didn't get things ID'd the way that we were anticipating, but everything from that room with Coach Ledford, his leadership in there, Nick Jones and Sean Flaherty, they do a great job with that whole group. So they've taken it, they take hard coaching, and they embrace it, and they've definitely stepped up to the challenge, especially in the run game. It's been a lot cleaner from a target and identification standpoint.
In terms of production, though, I think you saw the first half. I mean, of course, with Sean and everybody else, it seemed like they were rolling. The second half was completely different thing. So, of course, you have a quarterback change and everything.
Sure.
There's other factors involved. What did you see from a half to half?
Yeah, we didn't get as many opportunities. Obviously, that third quarter, didn't get the ball, and then we missed the short yardage. We get to another 3rd and long. We had an exchange issue on a toss play that didn't get communicated properly to Bijan that had a chance to go for a big play. So we were kind of, fighting against ourselves, especially in that 3rd quarter. And then when the guys kept battling, we had some play pass going. We had some opportunities, obviously, at the end of that game, penalty in overtime, so we kind of couldn't catch that same rhythm that we were playing with in the first half. But that's the biggest thing is we just got to lock in crunch time moments. We got to be as poised as we can be. We got to be detailed. We got to make the plays. That's been the message is really, the last 3 weeks. It's like, man, we got opportunities. We just got to, in those moments, we got to be at our best when our best are required and expect the guys to keep bouncing back. They're working hard. They love the game. They're playing really hard, for some tough circumstances. We would expect them to do that, but as a coach, that's all you want to see is the guys just keep trying to get better and better, and I think we're getting better across the board. It's just the results haven't been there, but we just got to keep with our same process.
Do you go back and when you're preparing for Kirk Cousins, do you go back and look at the games from last year that he played really well in and kind of see what worked for him?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, you're playing different structures of the defense, so some of those things might not pertain to this specific week. And then there's definitely going to be some carryover things that, we did last year. So I think you're looking at all those things. I mean, you can remember off the top of the head which games, what kind of defense it was, why it was successful. Tampa Bay, completely different defensive scheme, but is there a couple things that can carry over from there? For sure. We look at all those things, but, also kind of sticking within the framework of what we are now as an offense, knowing that last year we were obviously from a skill position standpoint, completely different spot. So, we'll look at all those things and knowing that Kirk can operate at a high level, and play pass, keepers, quick game, drop back, all those things will play a big factor.
When you think about the playbook for the remainder of the season, do you add things in for Kirk specifically, or do you kind of just start fresh and build as if this is a brand new
I think it's a little bit of both. You take a look at, first off, just our current personnel and, what that looks like. Obviously, we're monitoring Drake's situation and what happens with that. But you got to look at our personnel, what kind of fits for what we are right now. And then you just kind of look at the scheme first and foremost, and then you just kind of build the plan based on what you're seeing. But there'll be things that we pull from the past or just might be a totally new play that, we see on tape that could be an advantage. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but first is just our current personnel, what we're working with right now, and then just tailoring everything towards the defensive structure and what our guys we think can execute.
So it's not like a complete refresh.
Yeah, no, it won't. It's not. The system, obviously, we're in year 2 and everything is built, and we have plenty of inventory dating back 2 years that we can pull from, and then every single week there's new plays, whether it's run or pass games. So it's always a good mix of the stuff that we've done well, maybe dressed up a different way, and then just pulling any new plays that we see.
Where does Bijan's second touchdown run rank for you on the plays you've seen that year?
I mean, it's almost like at this point you just, I want to say expected, but he's just, the plays that he's making down in and down out, like in terms of ranking, I mean, the Bills one sticks out just because the speed that he hit it, obviously it was a well-executed play, but breaking that tackle, like that would probably be the top one. He had a great one against these guys last year in New Orleans, 30-plus yard gain. Again, broke a tackle, got free, but that one definitely is up there.
What do you see from being in New Orleans? What do you see from?
Yeah, they're a very sound defense. You look at all 3 levels. It's a sturdy, interior. They got big edge players from the previous scheme that they were playing in, and so they got really good talent. First level, second level, third level. Adding Justin Reed, so they got good players across the board. Got a lot of respect for Brandon Staley. Coached with him in LA, and then has been a friend for a handful of years now. So he does a great job, knowing that he sees the game through an offensive perspective. So we got to be ready for everything. And I see a sound, just good, solid defense. Looks like they communicate well at a high level.
How does it help you having already worked with Kirk and also knowing that he's a veteran that can step in like a moment like this?
Yeah, for sure. It all helps. I mean, Kirk's been there. He's played so much good football throughout his career. He played a lot of great football for us last year. I mean, we were 6-3 going to this New Orleans game in a great position. He was, player of the week, I think, twice in the NFC. So, we know what Kirk can do. We know what he can do for this offense, and we're just excited. I'm excited to just see him just go play. I mean, we've got, obviously still things out in front for us. We know our back's against the wall, but the message to him and the guys is just go cut it loose, let yourself play free, and then let the results take care of himself. But I'm excited to see Kirk, just knowing his veteran presence out there. He's got a great relationship with the offensive line, the skill guys, even just out at the walkthrough. He's cracking jokes in between plays, and, he's got a calming presence about him when he's out there. So I'm pumped for Kirk. I'm pumped for the rest of the guys.
How beneficial do you think it was for him to kind of sit back this year and watch and stay fully healthy? Because last year I know he wasn't fully healthy either.
Yeah, I would, I'd probably ask him on that. I know every competitor, they want to play, but seeing it from that perspective, does he gain a little more appreciation for when you are out there? I'd leave that up to him, but he's done a great job in the quarterback room, and just his positive energy, even on the sideline with Mike, he's been awesome. We'll come to the sideline, we're looking at the tablet, and he's been encouraging to Mike, hey, what a play on this check down. So he's been awesome in the room, and he's been great for Mike, and he's handled everything the right way, knowing how bad he wants to play. So he's getting an opportunity now, and we're excited about it.
Are you going to stay on the sideline, or are you going to go back up in the booth?
Yeah, I'll stay on the sideline. I think we've got a good rhythm going there. I personally like just being with the guys down there, and then I found it actually easier calling it from down on the field. So, yeah, I'll definitely stay down there.
People are going to see Drake obviously is not going to play Sunday. Mike's not playing Sunday. The last time this happened was the Dolphins game. Why is this week different?
I think I would anticipate us playing a little bit cleaner across the board, especially up front. We talked about the Dolphin game and just some of the things that we could have helped Kirk out big time, and the rest of the skill guys not put us in those situations where we're getting the second half, and it was a throw fest getting down. Obviously, we had a little bit of momentum, and then we fumble there, and then they go down and score, and it's like, okay, now we're in 2-minute mode basically the rest of the game. So that first half, I can't remember the exact number of plays in that Dolphin game. We talked about it in here. We had 14 real snaps of football, so it was a weird rhythm game. Obviously, the inefficiency on first and second down was big, but would anticipate just with a full week of practice with Kirk. Again, we feel great about our run and pass plan up to this point, just finished first and second down. So I think the guys will feel good about just kind of our first and second down plan of attack, and we got to have a great week of practice and a great week of prep.
Do you think mentally it's easier knowing you're for Kirk, he was filling in that game with the knowledge that maybe Penix is coming back, but now that he knows he's the guy, obviously they say they prepare the same way.
Sure.
Do you think it helps?
It does. You'd have to ask him again, but I would think so. You get sprung late in the week. You're not catching up because, like you're saying, you're always preparing. But knowing going into the week, early in the week, that you're the guy, obviously, it's a totally different mindset that you can prepare for heading Sunday. So would leave it to him, but I would guess that's the case.
Anything else?
Cool. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, Coach, how did Devine look on the practice field today in his return?
He looked good. Yeah, he's been so diligent in his time off of really staying, up to date with what we've done defensively, how we're growing and evolving, and it's like he hadn't skipped a beat.
How was I know we all saw the old Jack Lambert stuff with playing with the club and stuff. How does he? What would be some of the difficulties of him playing with that apparatus?
Yeah, we'll see. It's one of those things that I was fortunate enough to play with a guy named Patrick Willis who played with that multiple times, and I feel like multiple years, and it never slowed him down. It didn't. Your common sense says he's going to struggle maybe tackling, or he's going to struggle catching the ball or wrapping up, but it was not the case for him. And Devine is fortunate in the fact that he has tremendous length, and a lot of times that length can help you overcome something like a club on your hand. And if there's any guy that really understands how to take the extra step and put his body on somebody to ensure the tackle, it's him.
It looked like Harrison was having a good game until he tried to punch the ball out at the end. It looked like what was the film review of his play? And,
With Zach or
no, Ronnie.
Ronnie?
Ronnie Harrison.
Yeah, Ronnie played his absolute butt off. I don't know exactly, 90-something plus snaps when you add in his special team contribution. And to play that many snaps and to play as hard as he did is rare. You know, it really is. It just speaks to the man he is and the teammate that he is. And it speaks to our front office, speaks to Terry and to Ryan Pace to find this guy just on the street, you know, when we did find him. What an amazing contributor he's been in both phases, special teams and defense. And for him to not have the banked reps that some of these other guys have had, and to still go out there and play as well as he had, it's just testament to the man that we got. We're just fortunate to have him. You know, there's obviously some plays he'd want back for sure, and you know, when you play 90-something snaps, sometimes that's the case. But yeah, he's been amazing in Divine's absence.
Deablo, I mean, assuming that, I mean, we don't know if Deablo is going to be a full go on Sunday necessarily, but has Harrison kind of earned some extra snaps for you guys, or do you expect Deablo, assuming he is a full go on Sunday, to get still the majority of those snaps?
No, I totally agree with you in the fact that I think that he's earned the right to be a part of this defense in some capacity. You know, not just as a reserve, but he's talented enough and he's contributed enough and he's proved himself enough that I think he's worthy of trying to create different maybe personnel packages for him, just to take advantage of he has amazing length and speed and awareness and toughness and motor. So it's you can't have enough of those guys on the field for you.
With everything that's happened with Mike, I know it's on the other side of the ball, but
Yeah.
does that impact kind of the mental state of your defense, or do you kind of had to manage those guys with just everything that's going on the team right now?
Yeah, it's the old adage of you know, trying too hard is just as bad as not trying hard enough, and you step outside of your job and you feel like you have to do more than you're being asked of, and that can become dangerous. And it comes from the best of places. Like this defense, the character of this defense and the DNA of every man in that room is so elite and so rare that when something like that happens to Mike, every one of them feels like, man, I need to help and do more. And that's when I got to recenter him and bring him back and say, you know, doing more is not the answer. Just doing your job at an elitely high level, that's the answer, you know. And so I felt that a little bit in the second half of this past game. You know, I felt guys stepping outside of, you know, we'd made a mark early in the season of playing really sound fundamental football, especially from a coverage perspective. And you saw that was abandoned at times, and it wasn't from carelessness. It wasn't from going rogue. It was honestly, and this is no excuse. It came from a place of trying to do more than they were being asked of, and it's my job to bring them back. And I feel like they acknowledged, recognized that the last couple of days, and I'm excited to see them respond.
Two tough overtime losses, Coach, with the defense on the field. What's kind of been the message?
Yeah, we got to finish. I mean, great defenses, like every defense, every team for that matter, but every defense, we talk about starting fast. Is it important? Of course it's important. But in my opinion, ultimately you are defined on how you finish. And great defenses find ways to finish those games and put the nails in the coffin. We didn't do that, and that falls on everyone's shoulders, and that starts with me. So we got to find a way in those moments. We talk about being your best is required, and it goes back to like being at your best when your best is required. It's not being Superman. It's not stepping outside of and doing anything miraculous. It's just doing your job, you know, and doing your 1 of 11. And I think the guys really they grasp that now, you know. And like I said, I'm excited to see how they respond.
What do you see from this team you're facing this week that your team has been you really are preparing for?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've been in this division, you know, on a prior stop and had to deal with number 7, and it just keeps you up, you know, because the volume gets so big when he comes in the game, and I know that's crazy that I'm starting with Taysom Hill, but it's just so unique and unusual what they do with him, and there's so much designer stuff in there that, like, when you look at cut-ups, it looks so voluminous. It's big. All these one-off, you know, quarterback runs and quarterback movement and all this stuff that's just so non-traditional. that it gets a little overwhelming, and then you start to watch games and it's a little bit less than that. So, but you have to have an answer for that, and then you've got this young quarterback that, I mean, everybody knew he was a fantastic athlete. He had the arm to throw every ball, and he just had to give him some time and find himself. And unfortunately for us, he's finding himself. And I feel like the offense is starting to click a little bit. When you look at from the time that he's kind of taken over, I feel like statistically they've just gotten better and better from week to week. And then the array of weapons that he has, Kamara, Olave. I mean, it's the tight end, Juwan. There's a lot of weapons that we're going to have to account for, and they can beat you in a lot of different ways. Even schematically, I think Kellen Moore is one of the best out there. What he does best, in my opinion, is really adapt to the personnel that he has. When he's had young offenses, I feel like he's really catered to the college side of things and a little bit more RPOs, a little bit more quick game, a little bit more stuff they're accustomed to. But then he's also got this influx of NFL influence with some of the bigger people, 12 and 13. So he challenges you schematically, and then from a personnel standpoint, they challenge you from a talent standpoint. So it's we're gonna have to play our best ball. We are.
Coach, 18 sacks in your last 3 games. What have you seen from this pass rushing unit just in recent weeks?
We've gotten better, yeah, for sure. They're starting to understand the rush plan better. We're rushing better as a unit, because that's what it's about, in my opinion. When you just got a bunch of mercenaries that are rushing rogue, you don't have. It's hard to sustain success in that way. But they're rushing more organized. They understand you cover me, I cover you, I create space for you, you create space for me, how that works. And the best rush units, they understand that. Now, unfortunately, that second half is just such a poor reflection, I think, of what the direction of this defense is going. Now, from a positive standpoint, this past game, I felt like there's been a real issue regarding the run game, and I felt like we took a step in the right direction regarding that. Our physicality, our run fits on the second level, our third level trigger, and it's something to build on. So we gotta put it all together now. That's what we gotta do.
How valuable is that going against a young quarterback in New Orleans?
It's huge because, as we know, a young quarterback's best friend is a run game, and everybody in this room and everybody in this fan base, they know Kamara, and they know Kamara well, playing him twice a year, and he can beat you in a lot of ways. So it's we're gonna have to play what we did last week and even better, and keep building on that in regards to our run defense, and then our back end. We got to get back to what we've been doing, just being clean and sound and fundamentally right, and then as our rush keeps growing, it'll. In my history with this defense is we get better as the year goes on, because where other people are making stuff up and they just consistently add and add and add and add, we stay the course, and we just it becomes about precision and mastery, and typically towards the end of the year we get better. So I look forward to that occurring here.
I know last week you were talking about how impressed you were with the way the guys were bouncing back in meetings and practice.
Yep.
I know it's kind of cheeky, but like how was practice today in terms of what you saw from the guys?
Yeah, amazing. Again, I can't speak to the character of this group. It's just rare. We live in a day and age of a lot of selfishness and self-promotion and a lot of for whatever the reason. It's typically a challenge in these moments. It's a challenge, obviously, just to go win a game and play your best. And when you've lost, like we've lost as of late, typically you spend half your time and energy just trying to get them up and focused and trying to create an environment where there's some positivity and and I haven't had to do that at all. Like, they've been the ones kickstarting all of that. They've been the driving force in regards to the positive energy and the focus and the detail. So as long as we keep this attitude, which I don't see changing just because of who they are, we will improve, and we'll finish the way we want to finish.
Coach, had you looked at the last 2 games where y'all had the lead and the defense wasn't able to hold? Was there any theme in those 2 games that y'all weren't able to get the stop when the stop was, y'all wanted to get a stop?
Yeah. Now, first of all, there's always calls that I could have made that would have helped. So from that standpoint, there's some things and some calls here and there where I could have put the guys in a better position to be successful. So it starts with me. And then beyond that, it's some really uncharacteristic, fundamental flaws, errors that we don't make. And again, and it's not me making an excuse, but there is an element of these guys thinking they have to do more than what they're being asked of, and that comes from the best of places. And it's been a really powerful message, especially for our younger guys, to understand in these moments, being at your best required is doing your job. And that'll be powerful going forward.
So people were overextending.
I really feel like that was part of it. There was me. I could have done a better job of putting them in spots to be successful, and a little bit of over trying.
Okay.